Ko Marama Davidson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to stand and support the Ngāruahine Claims Settlement Bill. In this committee stage, I want to particularly pick up on the representation. There is an amendment to the bill being put before the House, and I want to particularly pick up on the benefit of having Māori representation at the table at Taranaki regional and local authorities. We won't be supporting my colleague Peter Paraune's amendment, which in effect negates Māori representation at the council table. And I want to support the Minister in outlining why that is so necessary, why it is essential to the fundamental, to the foundation of Aotearoa New Zealand is actually to enable the partnership, a true partnership, and Māori representation. Mr. Chair, some years ago, I actually wrote about the importance of Māori representation that I wanted to expand on a little bit more tonight. And it was because at that time, particularly at local authority, local government levels, there was a big debate. And as we can imagine in this House, there was quite a bit of backlash and opposition, particularly to Māori representation. I'm particularly proud of the way that iwi of Taranaki are maintaining and upholding their kaitiaki responsibilities over both their whenua and their hapori and marae and hapu to maintain iwi representation at the local government table, local authority table. And I do want to acknowledge, therefore, what that means. So several years ago, I relate to my own iwi in Ngāpuhi in Hokianga. For over 30 years, the local hapu and the community, Māori and non-Māori working together, have been trying really hard to improve our wastewater sewage systems for our Hokianga harbour and various inlets. And 30 plus years ago, had that been managed properly, particularly upholding the Te Tiriti partnership in Hokianga, I think we would have seen a better, firstly better community involvement, but also better protection over the Hokianga harbour and the waterways where it is concerning wastewater sewage. Now here you had an example where, as with many of the examples, where it would have benefited everybody to have that iwi and hapu representation at that local government table, thereby truly honouring the partnership, because it is essentially, our representation is focused on our kaitiaki responsibilities and our whakapapa to our whenua. And so nothing in that relationship, as with here with the Ngāruahine Settlement Bill, is about maintaining power for the purposes of individual people or even individual hapu. It is actually about maintaining kaitiaki responsibilities to ensure that the community as well, that the waters and the whenua as well for all of the generations to come. All of the generations, not just the mokopuna tamariki of those hapu and iwi. So I did want to particularly focus and outline on why we will not be supporting my colleague Peter Paraune's amendment. I'm very aware that New Zealand First has a particular different political point when it comes to Māori representation, but the Green Party has and always will remain very clear and very strong that the benefits, number one, for upholding our tiriti relationship and partnership is absolutely, was always supposed to be about an equal share of power and affirming the sovereignty of Taranaki iwi. Now, one sort of final point is that that does not necessarily mean the best representation is not always found, I'm going to ask for some more, is not always found just at the table in terms of local government representation. So yes, Māori representation is important and vital, Mr. Chair.
Marama Davidson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Yes, Māori representation is important and vocal. Is local government representation at the table the best way of upholding that? That is for iwi to decide. I want to acknowledge that in some places, some iwi have chosen not to have to campaign to be at the table. That is for iwi to decide, but where iwi have had a tradition of having their voice at that table, then we should absolutely, this House should absolutely support that. I do not make a claim to say that that is the best way to uphold the Te Tiriti partnership, but certainly it is an important way to be able to affirm what iwi themselves are wanting, and so I did want to focus this particular contribution on that the Green Party will be continuing to support local government representation for iwi. Thank you, Mr. Chair.